Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. And I'm the only one here today, but Amira Lutfi, our reviews editor, and Maureen Brenner, one of our other contributors at MetaStellar, helped with the book reviews. And I'm going to be summarizing what they thought about the books. So the way this works is every Friday, me and other people on our editorial team read the first couple of chapters of the top 10 free sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon. And the link to the full article is below, so you can read the full review and get all the links and everything you need. And today's list has space battles, has shapeshifters, has zombie apocalypse, has a magical cooking mystery, you know, all the good stuff. For those who are new to our channel, MetaStellar is an online magazine of speculative fiction. All the content is always free for our readers. We publish original short fiction, reprints, excerpts, essays, and lots of book reviews. And we're able to do this thanks to the kind generosity of our Patreon supporters. Thanks, guys. All right, let's get into the books. The top #1 book on this list was Balanced Scales by Laura Greenwood, the first of 6 books in the Untold Tales fantasy series. The other books are $4 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. And this is like a retelling of classic fairy tales. In this case, it's a retelling of The Little Mermaid. I'm not the target audience for this book. The protagonist is a teenager, and it's a romance. I think romances are too mushy, and I hate young adults. So I'm not the target audience for this. But I do have to say the one thing I do like about the book is that the mermaid doesn't just give up her life because she fell in love with a guy she literally just met, the first human she ever laid eyes on, and like upends her life to go be with him. So in this particular case, she leaves the water and goes on land for a real mission. And the fact that there's a cute guy involved means just a bonus, but it's not her primary motivation. So I do like that approach, and the book reads well and the story moves along quickly. I mean, it's the #1 bestseller on the free list today for a good reason, but I'm not really that into it. It's not my type of story, but I think a lot of people are going to like it. Next, we have Moonrise over Rabbit River. Let me pull up that cover. And it's by Elyce de Reefe, the first of 7 books in a Rabbit River Saga paranormal romance series. The other books are between $3 and $5 each. They're all in Kindle Unlimited. And in July, we reviewed the 4th book in the series, A Mating of Convenience. And Amira read the beginning of this book, and she says it's a shifter romance between a man who is basically a werewolf and a lonely human woman. And the woman's ex attacks her and leaves her for dead in the woods. And the werewolf finds her and saves her, and romance ensues. Amira says that the writing style makes her feel immersed in a cozy New England town, except for the whole being killed by your ex part. She likes the pacing. It's neither too fast nor too slow for her. It's perfect for someone who wants a sweet shifter romance. So she says she likes it, but doesn't know if she likes it quite enough to keep reading. Next, we have a book that I read, the book that I started reading, Beyond the Grave by R.W. Wallace. And it's the first of 3 books in the Ghost Detective urban fantasy series. The other books are $5 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. And as you can guess from the series title, there's a ghost detective involved. And I love the premise of this particular book because it's set in France. There's a bunch of unsolved murders that were miscategorized as suicides. And one of the girls who was murdered is haunting the cemetery where she's buried. And also in the same cemetery is a detective who messed up her case in the first place, and he's also a ghost. and he's got some limited ability to influence the thoughts of people around, but can't leave his body. So they're tied to the cemetery. And then the case is reopened, and Emile Evian is a French detective who's sent to look into the murders. She has the bodies exhumed, and and the mystery begins. I love this setting. It's an unusual setting, unusual for me. And I haven't read any paranormal police procedurals set in France before. I love this book so far. I love the writing style, and I will probably finish it this weekend. Next up, we have this one, The Dark Side of Angels by Steve Hadden. And I began reading this. It's a standalone techno thriller. If you like the author's style, he has several other books in the same genre at $3 to $6 each. Most of his books are in Kindle Unlimited. And I do like techno thrillers, but only if they're not too scary or too disturbing or too successful or too suspenseful, because I'm a wimp. So I was kind of hesitant about starting to read this. Is it going to be scary? Is it going to give me nightmares? So no, it's not. Here, scientists developed a genetic therapy compound that can make people younger or cure deadly diseases. Her laboratory is attacked. Her researchers are all killed. She barely survives. And she suspects that the government is involved in the attack. So she has no one to turn to except one guy who she's got an iffy relationship with. And meanwhile, other main characters in the book are actual government investigators and the bad guys and a kind of creepy billionaire. I like this book. I like the procedural aspects. I like the fast-paced action. So there's a good chance I'm going to finish this soon. Next, Diplomatic Recruit by S.E. Weir and Michael Anderle. And Michael Anderle is a regular on these lists, I believe. His name is very familiar. This is the first of 4 books in the Empress's Spy Sci-Fi Adventure series. The other books are $5 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. A girl who lives in a space station is about to turn 18. She's an orphan. Her parents died in a military conflict, and she's got martial arts and hacking skills and gets recruited into the Empire's diplomatic corps, where she's also going to be a spy. So great beginning. The book is part of the broader Kurtherian Gambit universe, which has like 20 books in it. And the first book in that series, Death Becomes Her, is $5 and then Kindle Unlimited, has thousands of positive reviews. So I would suggest starting with that book instead, because when I started reading Diplomatic Recruit, I kind of got lost a little bit with all the backstory. And I realized that I was like missing a whole ton of exciting stuff that happened. And maybe, I not give myself any spoilers. So I pulled up that first book, Death Becomes Her. I already had it in my Kindle, and it's set on Earth, and it has vampires in it and military action and twists, and it's fast-paced. It has a cinematic writing style, and I know there's going to be aliens someday and space battles, so I am all in. I am exactly the target audience for the series. I love that the whole series is in Kindle Unlimited, and it's at the top of my reading list. So I recommend that book highly. Next up, the 6th book on the list is Sky Raiders by Michelle Diener. The first of 3 books in the Sky Raiders sci-fi romance series. The other books are $5 each, and they're both in Kindle Unlimited. So Amira read this one. She says there's 2 lovers on a distant planet. The lovers are separated by war. Their planet is under attack by aliens who want to colonize the planet for themselves. She started reading this book and says it's entertaining and fun to read, and she might finish it because she's curious about what's going to happen. Next up, we have the novels of H.G. Wells Volume 1. So this is a box set of The Island of Dr. Moreau, The Food of the Gods and How It Came to Earth, and The First Men in the Moon. So Island of Dr. Moreau is about a guy who gets shipwrecked, winds up on an island with a mad scientist. You all know the story. The second book is about a superfood that makes children go into giants. And the third book is about a businessman and a scientist who travel to the moon and find aliens. So classics of science fiction, people who like reading early sci-fi and seeing where all these tropes came from originally, good place to start. I personally, the books are kind of slow, because they're old-fashioned. But if you want to read them, they're all over the place because they're in public domain. So you can get them on Project Gutenberg and everywhere else. So the main thing is, are these books themselves worth reading, or would you read copies elsewhere? And I have to say, yeah, their composition is fine. I didn't see any typos or major problems with the book that you sometimes get with republished public domain books. So yeah, if you want to read some H2Ls, pick this up. All right, next up, Hex Kitchen by Stephanie Fazio, the first of 3 books in the Hex Kitchen urban fantasy series. The other books are $1 each and are in Kindle Unlimited. And it's kind of like a cozy paranormal story, which I like. And I like books with puns in their title. The female protagonist is a struggling waitress who discovers that her cooking has magical powers. And the male protagonist, which kind of indicates to me that there's going to be a love story. So the male protagonist is part of a family that runs a chain of magical restaurants. And there's a magical problem that's causing the restaurants to fail and buildings to implode. And to save it, he must win a big magical cooking contest. So yeah, the book makes no sense, but it's fun. And I can easily see finishing it. It's not, for me, it's not that gripping. So it's not like at the top of my reading list. But if I'm looking for something cute and super light, definitely that's a nice little escapist story. Moving on to the opposite, it's also kind of an escapist story, Beyond by Maureen Miller. So I read this one. It's the first of 3 books in the Beyond young adult sci-fi romance series by a USA Today bestselling author. The other books are $4 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. So aliens come to Earth to collect biological samples. They want to grab a dog, but instead they grab the dog's owner, a high school teenager. And instead of putting her back where they got her, when they realized their mistake, for some reason they take them with them on their space trip, and they'll be back swinging by Earth again in 5 years. They speak English. They look human. One of them is really cute. And their ship's attacked by another alien species. It's a readable book. I mean, the author is a very successful author, but it's not my kind of book because, as I mentioned repeatedly, I hate young adults. And then finally, like I said, I was going to say this is the opposite of escapist fiction, Endemic by Robert Chazz Chute. It's a standalone apocalyptic pandemic novel. The other books are $4 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. The author is, no, hold on, there are no other books. I don't know why I said that. The author has other books in the same genre, and most of them are in Kindle Unlimited. Okay, so I dislike young adult and romance. But I dislike apocalypses even more. We are literally right now living through a pandemic and a climate crisis. The last thing I want in my escapist reading is more of that. So in this book, there's been a zombie apocalypse, and the zombies are caused by a pandemic, and there's multiple variants of the disease going around. Hits way too close to home. I'm sorry. The protagonist is the female the former book editor in New York City who now runs a secret farm, and she's got some mental health issues. Like, who wouldn't? So she hears a weird voice in her head and has imaginary conversations with her old shrink. It's gripping, it's tense, it's a psychological story. It's too tense for me. I'm not going to keep reading it because I'm a wimp. So there you go. Those are today's top 10 free sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon. If you like this kind of content, please support our channel by hitting the like and subscribe buttons. You can also support us on Patreon. Your support helps pay for the original fiction, and the link is in the description below. All the money that it comes in from our supporters goes to paying for original fiction. So you're supporting new and emerging science fiction and fantasy writers. And thank you very much to all our supporters. Meanwhile, what do you think of these books? Have you read any of them? Try to read them? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.